Welcome to the Judgment Free Zone. You've downloaded the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast, episode 15 for July 11th, 2022.
Now adjust the volume control so that the sound can be heard in all parts of the room.
Recorded live from the cornfields of Central Illinois, you're listening to the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast with Matt and Amy. Come and learn and share a journey with two former craft beer enthusiasts who went from daily drinkers to teetotalers and basically never lost their love for their life together.
Hey, a freak show!
Well, hello there, children. Welcome back to your weekly freak show that is the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast, episode number 15. I'm Matt, along with the always lovely Coach Amy, who's looking at me like I don't know how to work a calendar.
I can't believe it.
It's episode 15?
Is it really episode 15? Are you sure?
I don't. You looked at me like I didn't know what the date was either, so I don't. Yes.
No, I know what the date is.
It's episode 15. It's like 3 months since it's weekly, so.
Wow.
Actually, you want
and we've
3 months.
actually done it weekly.
You make me.
I don't make you do anything.
We forgot one thing. How are you, my love?
That is so weird.
I was going to do it different, but then you.
So weird.
So.
Oh. Yes. So right now, currently, as you are all listening to this, we are basking in the sun, hopefully. Hopefully, we're going to be on a boat, and hopefully it's not raining. But if it's raining, we're still on vacation, and that's okay.
Right. Hey, you never know. We made podcasts from the boat. We've talked about that.
We have. That would be a little odd with these.
Why? You just have to hold it in your hand. You don't take the whole stick. You just take the microphone. You get it. Of course, then Amy's holding this microphone, and she's not really good about microphone management.
And then next thing you know, it's off the boat. I've ruined something.
So how's your week going? Your pre-vacation week?
I hate getting ready for vacation.
You're not very good at it, to be honest. No.
I am not.
You're kind of like one of the kids. Like, all right, Amy, just get your stuff packed. Just
No,
pack.
okay. We started off this past weekend. We have actually gathered up. We've done some shopping.
Yes. Yeah.
We've gotten that portion. I feel good about that.
And then you stop.
And now I am currently in the throes.
I hope you do some packing, because at this rate, I can't sleep in my bed. Our bed.
I don't know if other people are like me. I tend to get all the options out.
I don't.
And then
this is like the 16th time we've taken this trip. There's nothing to think about. Shorts, t-shirts, a sweatshirt.
And then I downsize.
And then you downsize. You down? Really? That's what downsizing looks like. Okay, we'll go with that.
I've already been back to Target to do some shopping today. Had to get some additional
You would think
things.
downsizing wouldn't involve going to Target. But somehow it does still. Okay.
I enjoy Target.
You do enjoy Target. I know.
I had to go buy a bowl because you broke one. So
this is going to be a good test.
Now I'm sad because I don't think they're going to carry that little color bowl. So
you know what? We got to move on from that bowl. Amy.
I know it.
And this will be a good chance for us to test out our FOMO and JOMO, as we talked last week, the fear of missing out and the joy of missing out. But this is not our first time doing this.
This is your second time.
Oh my gosh, yeah, your third.
And this is my third. And I will have to say, when you go through it the first time, that's the hardest. I mean, you go through any events that you go through
for the first time.
Just it.
I think it's harder in your head ahead of time.
It is. It's in your head, and then when you get there, and if you go in once again with curiosity and with the mindset that let's just see how this goes, and don't go in this mindset that it's gonna suck, because if you go in with that mindset, it's gonna suck. I mean, that's just the way it is. The mind goes where the energy flows, Matt.
Or does the energy flow where the mind goes?
Or both.
Or both. But I think...
But the quote is actually what I said.
A tip I've heard is, don't go into the event thinking, I'm not going to drink on this whole vacation. Go into it like, I'm not going to drink on the boat and see how that goes. I'm not going to, baby step it that way. And I'm just going to do this one thing versus saying...
And go prepared.
Because it is tough.
Go prepared. Because we're going where we're going. We all have condos. So we take our own stuff, And also the mentally rehearsing mental rehearsal of going through the event
Right.
helps so much. I mean, it's like, okay, we're going to go out to eat. So in your mind, mentally rehearse ordering an NA drink and just doing it with confidence and
Own it.
own it.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. And then, you get through that first time and you're like, oh my gosh, I did it. And then the next time you do it, it really, instead of it just being like, okay, like say you're at 90%, you're like with anxiety going into the first time. The next time it like goes down to like 10% the next time you do it. You're like, okay, well, I've done this before. Your brain understands and it's like, oh yeah, we've done this before. This is cool. I can do this.
Recalculate the GPS. Recalculate.
Yeah.
Recalculate. Well, and I'll say last year, you see all the people on the boats down at the dock and they're all drinking. And for a minute, I was like, oh, it looks like they're having fun. And then you go a little bit later and they look like just a complete mess. And then you see them the next morning and they look so rough. I'm like, oh my God, the boat's trashed.
Or you witness the couple who they got in the fight.
And the guy disappeared. No,
and
the
then,
guy
they'd been
the guy
drinking.
kept the boat by himself in the dark.
Yes, took the boat out.
Drunk.
So then you're like, okay, that's not fun. That's actually scary, dangerous.
And you see those people in the morning and they are not having fun in the morning.
No. And a lot of them are the ones that you see that are snapping at their kids. And I'm not
been there, done that.
I've done that myself.
Hangovers be that way.
Yeah. So it's really very nice to be able to just go and do our thing. I don't care.
No.
I feel so good in the morning. I just don't care. I never have to have another hangover on vacation.
Nope.
I am.
But then you make me get up and do stuff. But yes.
I always made you get up and do stuff anyways.
I'm not getting out of anything, am I?
I couldn't sleep.
I know, that's true.
So I was still get up.
Let's go, I'm awake.
I will say one thing that I am very interested in doing though is I really do want to go back to Cancun.
Oh, the all-inclusive?
Mm-hmm. Because that's like a whole mind.
Because that literally is designed to drink.
Yeah. And I'm like, nah, I want to go and do stuff. Like this is what we have to do. We paid for this. So we're here to drink. We're here to drink. And eat. Oh man. The food was really good.
But you made to find somewhere else
back.
to. Yeah, well,
I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to go and I want to go back to Cancun and I want to go out to the whales. Or no, the whale shark.
Oh, I thought
the whale sharks.
Oh, yeah, go a certain time of year for that.
Yeah, and I think that's in April or May.
May, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
I would. Just don't leave the resort too much. You don't want to get shot.
No, I know, but that would be. Isn't that one of those excursions?
Lots of excursions. We didn't take any because there was no alcohol in the excursion. They don't want you drunk and getting in the water. That's just a bad.
Well, who can blame them? I can't imagine.
That's why on our other snorkeling trip, you couldn't have your margarita till you got back on the boat.
True story.
All right. Well, speaking of drinks, I'm just going to change your name. Whatever. Coach Absolute Amy. How about that? Anyway, what is your drink of the week there, Coach?
My drink of the week is hop water.
Which you've done before, but this is a different flavor.
This is the lime.
The lime in the bright green can.
And I really do enjoy that.
I don't think we won't. I need to keep a list of the ones we've done because after 15 episodes, that's what 30 drinks. So.
And I've heard that hops is supposed to be good for you to fall asleep.
Might throw some alcohol in it, surely, yeah. But
no. Seriously, it was like somebody.
There's probably actually some. Well, it's like that news story. I think that's a news story we read about how the people who had alcohol or who had a beer a day, their gut bio was better. But even if you didn't have the alcohol in it, it was still better. Well, there's something in that process. So there may very well. And those actually have. Let me see your can.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They actually do include ashwagandha and L-theanine.
And what does that do for me?
Ashwagandha I've been taking and doesn't do anything that I've found, but the L-theanine is supposed to be more like a mood enhancer, balancer type thing. The only problem is, like I've said before, those kind of drinks, when they put that in there.
It says to distress and unwind for mood and cognitive.
De-stress? You said to distress. Like my jeans or what? I'm so distressed.
De-stress. To de-stress, yes, and unwind. That is hilarious.
But my only issue is they don't tell you how much is in there.
For mood and cognitive performance.
You obviously need some cognitive performance. You should have drank a couple before you started. Mine is something fun. Just came in. I've had one. I really needed to let it get colder before I drank it, so I'm going to have to give it another try. But this is a what do you call this? A collaboration. So the drink is called Wandering Islands Tropical Pale. But it's from Wellbeing Brewing, which is an NA brewery, partnered with Four Hands Brewing, which is a well-known brewery. Four Hands does, I forget what's one of their beers. Anyway, I've had Four Hands. Four Hands is good. But they partner and then with a not-for-profit called Giving Kitchen. So it's a collaboration with Giving Kitchen, which is a nonprofit providing financial assistance, as well as access to mental and physical health resources to food service workers in crisis.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
Yeah, so it's really cool. It's a good beer. It's actually one of the only NAs I think I've come across that's in a 16-ounce can. It's a pint beer.
So
most of them are 12-ounce.
Is this one you're going to be taking on vacation?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, maybe I'll try it.
It's limited edition, so if you're listening to this on July 11th, you might want to hop out to Wellbeing Brewery and order. I have no idea how long it'll be there.
Cool. Very cool. There you go. All right. So we're going to be sober on the lake. We're very excited about that. I just, I can't wait to be on the lake. Lake life is the best.
Life is the best.
Why do we not live closer to a lake? I don't know.
Bad day on the lake beats any day in the cornfields.
That is absolutely true.
All right, Coach. So we have an awesome interview this week. We need to come up with it. We're always like, it's an awesome interview. It's great. Every week we sound the same when we say this crap. So we need to come up with something very interesting and intriguing interview this week.
Well, it is kind of timely. Because the coach that we are going to be interviewing, Susan Larkin, and her husband, Lance. Susan, one of her big things that kind of held her back was vacations, not drinking on vacations. Yep. And I know that was, we talk in this interview, we're going to talk about how that was the same for us. Yep. So she actually has a Aloha boot camp that I actually went through, and it's to get you ready to go on vacation alcohol free. And it's a great interview. I'm going to give just a little bit.
And interesting too, because Lance still does drink.
Yes.
Not a lot. Less than he used to, because she was kind of, I think, what did he call her? Like the pusher, or like the basically like he was just doing it. He's doing it because she's doing it kind of thing.
Well, and I think, that is what we're discovering. For us, we were both.
Yeah. Why don't you drink alone? So,
Yeah, no. Oh, okay. Well, you are. Oh, you're trying to cut back? Well, I'm not.
So tell me about Susan and Lance.
So anyways, Susan's mission, I'm just going to start with that. Susan's mission is to help overachieving women discover how to get their drinking under control, become free, and create a life they want to wake up to. Susan's career in medical education at an Ivy League medical school started in her late 30s after working as a stay-at-home mom with her children when they were young. It was then that she started drinking as a coping mechanism for the stress of balancing her career, family life, and getting her MBA.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And she's an overachiever. She found herself constantly hustling for her worthiness, always overdoing it, but never feeling like it was good enough or that she was enough. Drinking was an escape from those feelings and from the exhaustion of constantly keeping so many plates spinning. Drinking helped make her nicer and helped her get along to get along. It was her reward for working hard and her consolation prize for not feeling like her life was good enough. Soon that glass of wine to take the edge off turned into 2 or 3 more. She became a gray area drinker, living in an increasingly gray life. She attended Annie Grace's webinar and learned how to get her drinking under control and go from aware to awake to alive. And she decided that she wanted to be alive. This journey inspired Susan to become a This Naked Mind coach and to help others find the same freedom And we'll just go ahead and go to the interview now. Hi, everybody. And I wanted to welcome Susan and Lance Larkin to the show. We are so excited to have you guys here. And I just am going to go ahead and turn this over to Susan and Lance. And if you could tell us a little bit about you guys, where you're from, your family, and what you guys do for fun.
Okay. Well, we got we got married when 32 years ago on January 6, 1990. We met in Southern California. I went down to Southern California to go to UCLA. I'm from Northern California, and Lance grew up in the Valley. We always joke that his high school was literally the model for Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I'm not kidding you. So that's pretty much his time frame. So that's pretty much, he was at school. He has a friend who's totally Spicoli, which is hilarious. Uncle Robbie. Anyway, so we met after college. We met at a church singles Christmas dinner. And the funny story is that I was a greeter because I already went to the church, and he was kind of visiting because his mom went to that church. And so he noticed me. I didn't notice him. I was just greeting I was just greeting people. But then when I went to get my seat, my roommate was saving me a seat at one of the tables, and my seat happened to be right next to him. So he was like, oh. And then we hit it off, and we were having a Christmas party at our apartment, and I invited him to come to that party. And it was at a time in the church, we were young, in our early 20s. We're like, none of the Christian guys wanted to date or show interest, because it was sort of like, once you showed interest in a girl, then it was like you were going to get married. You know what I mean? But Lance didn't know this culture. So he comes to our apartment, and all the guys are like, all the girls are in the kitchen, and all the guys are in the living room. And he's like, I'm going in the kitchen, like, why dudes, why are you all in here? So he was very, he pursued me, which was really awesome. And then we went on a date, and I found out that he had children from his first marriage, which was kind of interesting. And the girls, they were 2.5, identical twin girls, totally adorable. And here he was, a single dad, toys and Pampers in the closet. And it was just, and,
no wonder I'm tired at this age.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about our story. We ended up getting married a year later, and we ended up moving out to Connecticut for his job 2 or 3 years into our marriage. So most of our married life has been in Connecticut, far away from family. And so we started our family here, and we're still here. We started thinking we would leave in like 5 years, and then 29 years later, we're still here. So anyway.
Another 5 years and another 5 years.
So you said, what do we do for fun? Why don't you answer that one, since we're starting new fun things?
Well, yeah, we, having kids and raising kids and all that, there was a lot of years of not knowing what we do for fun. I mean, we have a good time all the time because we have a similar sense of humor, and it's a jokey kind of thing that has gotten us through all that. But since Susan stopping drinking and then us having less responsibilities, we're picking up a new season. We're looking at it as a new season of life. So we're doing things like, COVID, going on walks was a big thing, and it's not just things that cost money or whatever, but just getting into new things. We've gotten pickleball paddles, which is undoubtedly, hot for old people. And
it's huge. It's huge around here. They love the pickleball around here.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's something you can just start playing. It's not like tennis or golf where you have to
really have it down.
Do it.
Yeah, you can just sort of hit the ball around.
Yeah, you can hit it around. We got bikes, and we've been really trying to manage our time more I can work from anywhere, so that gives me freedom to go places. So we're really committed, or we've been more committed to the important things of life as our friends and family get older and this and that, and people have had tragedies and stuff like that, to make sure we don't miss the important things of life, of like traveling and visiting. And since I can work from anywhere and write off anything as a business expense, we're committed to doing that kind of stuff. So we're just kind of getting into that over the last year type of a thing.
And I started trying golf.
Yeah. Which my friends are chastising me for, saying, what are you,
your
crazy?
He likes it though. And
But we're figuring, I mean, golf is something that can take, she's like, what, how are you gone for 5 hours?
Oh. I just add an hour to whenever he says he's going to be home. I'll be home at 12:30. I'm like, okay, see you at 1:30.
But doing things outdoors. And doing things together, and just having a much more mellow kind of existence. I would say our years have been 30 years of high cortisol stress life. So it's kind of a different thing now to just be able to be dialed down and just not, there's nothing that's a huge code red.
Yeah. And really being parents the whole time, because we had Kim and Tanya, right away, because he had kids. And then we had Lauren and Kim and Tanya are 7 years apart. And then Luke, our son, is 6 years younger than Lauren. So literally Luke just moved out. He's 22. And for 30 years of our marriage, or 32 years of our marriage, we've had kids. So
I think it's funny. I don't think I remembered your son was named Luke, because our son is named Luke, and he will be 22 this November. So, wow, what another weird coincidence.
We have
a great name.
Yeah, it is a great name.
It's been a popular year for Luke.
Yeah. It wasn't really, it's not a popular name necessarily. So there's so many biblical names, Matthew and Mark. And Luke isn't one that people use that often.
I was going with the Star Wars angle when we named our Luke, but
everyone says Luke, your father,
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so Susan, why don't you just kind of give us a little bit of your story, and we'll just take it from there.
Yeah, well, I really felt like I was drinking too much. I hate to use the word normal, but I wasn't aware of any problem drinking necessarily until probably about 2011, 12. I just finished getting my MBA, working full time. And then our kids at that age were elementary and beginning high school, junior high. And I just started going, I just think, I knew the drink limit was like 7 a week. And I was like, I'm definitely kind of over that, and just sort of questioning it. And it's so funny because you hear this with people at that time, at that moment, when you start to question it, you start to try to do something about it, is when it all of a sudden becomes a bigger problem for some reason. It's like, now I know what's going on in my brain, but I didn't know then that my subconscious was, trying to keep me to do this thing that it felt like it needed me, and my conscious brain is going, hey, maybe I should cut back. And then now they're at war with each other, and I'm in this big cognitive dissonance war. Of course, I don't know that. I just think there's something wrong with me. And oh my gosh, I have the problem, because I'm also, not aware that, alcohol use is on a spectrum. I just think that you're normal or you're an alcoholic. And so I think, hopefully I'm not that, So I start to kind of freak out. And so at the time we met at church. We're Christians. We go to church. I went to my pastor and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just, struggling. I think I'm drinking too much. And they told me to go to AA, which was like, so I'm pretty obedient person. I don't know. I just thought, okay, we had some recovery people in our church and I love them, and they weren't part of they were more NA people. And so I went to a meeting, and I used to drive really far to go to meetings like where nobody would know me, etc. So I went to a meeting, and I did try AA for 8 months, and I felt like, and I'm going to kind of skew my story more to our relationship, because I've told my story, a couple times, but I was just like angry. Poor Lance. I was just angry the whole time, because I just was so mad at myself that somehow I'd gotten myself into this place. It's my fault. How could I have let this happen? I have some sort of disease, which I didn't know if I really believed or not, but I'm just going with it. Like, okay, and I remember telling a friend and she's like, but you seem so together and normal. And I'm like, I don't know. I supposedly have a disease.
I have a disease.
Like, oh my God.
Susan, I will say, like, you went. I refused. I wouldn't even go and talk to my minister because I knew that was going to be the answer. And I was like, well, no, there was nowhere close for me to drive to go to another town. It would have been like 20, 30 minutes. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. So
I did that. Yeah.
So,
oh, wow.
Susan, can I ask real quick, how much were you drinking when you felt like you had a problem?
Well, that's such a tricky question because probably people listening to this would go, well, that's not that much. I would probably drink it started, of course, with one glass of wine when I would get home.
Right.
And it was when I was in this, I was promoted in my job and I took on a job that was very stressful. And, it was coffee in the morning and a glass of wine in the evening. And then the glass of wine was more like 2 in the evening. And I knew it was too much if you have 2 glasses of wine 5 nights a week, which I really didn't. I usually probably didn't Monday or Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, but usually Friday and Saturday for sure.
But they were larger glasses.
Sometimes Sunday, yeah, we have really large wine glasses. It's fudging that, So
well, I'm only having 2. Hey, the bottle's gone.
Yeah, this sounds like our
The 5-ounce pour, right?
Yeah, 5-ounce pour.
Yeah, it's like
Never heard that in our family.
yeah, we've always had the it's an Edwards pour.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and we would have wine together, and that's really how, or whatever, mostly wine. I wasn't really a hard alcohol drinker. At the point where things were not good with me, when I wanted a drink and we didn't have wine, if we had vodka, I would drink vodka, but I was never a vodka drinker. That wasn't my drink of choice if we went out or ever before, it getting to a point where I felt like I needed it to get through anxiety or stress, or I didn't need it like in the morning. It was like, I had a stressful day. Oh my gosh, we don't have any wine. Oh, there's some weird ass vodka there in the back of the cupboard. I'll try that. That was pretty much, how it went. But, but I knew it was over the 7 drinks. I knew it was getting worse. And I just I felt like a problem. And so I was very, I was sensitive to it. I really felt like the Holy Spirit was, telling me this is a problem. And I don't know, it was hard. It was hard even because I would pray and I would pray that I knew God wanted me to give it up and I didn't want to give it up. And that made me even feel like a bad Christian. So now I'm feeling like a bad person. I think I have a problem. I'm feeling like a bad Christian. I just was a shame bucket. I was just literally a walking bucket of shame. And
then anxiety,
and then anxiety from my job and stuff. So, he has been really great. He stuck through me being like, mean all the time, like trying to, but and then I
made sure wine was available.
Yeah, so that was the thing. He was sort of
I have no psychological skills to deal.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of enabling going there. I'd be like, I really want to try to cut back or quit, and he would go, okay. And then 3 days later,
tomorrow.
It's like, hey, you bring wine home, and I'm like,
because you were stressed out, and he wanted you calm.
I mean, there's no doubt. I had no idea how to deal. She's a very driven, high-strung, type A personality. I'm the opposite. Okay. And I had no idea of how to deal with this level of just stress or just,
And then we had tons of stuff going on in our personal life with our family, with the girls, with starting this. So I quit AA after 8 months. We went on vacation and I was just like, I'm not doing this. I'm going to have maybe 2 drinks a day when we're on vacation. I was fine with that. And I remember that first drink though. I remember drinking it and going, it really wasn't that great. It was like my favorite Chardonnay at the time. And then I woke up the next day going, wow, I really feel bad. So I knew even then, like, wow, this is toxic. But at the time I got no education like we get from This Naked Mind. So I just went, whatever. Like this tastes bad, but I'll keep drinking it. It was just like crazy, but
that's what you do.
Right.
Yeah. And I really, at that time though, believed that I needed to go back to drinking to save our marriage, because it was like, that was such an integral part of our relationship. I knew it made me nicer. Like he'd even said things like, you're more normal after you have a glass of wine, you know? And I just thought, yeah, I can't do this life if I don't have my wine. That was just where I was at. And I did a lot of moderation. There's a book called Moderation Management. I'd track it. I would do 4-day stints per week. I would never drink more than 2 nights in a row. Like I worked this moderation train really hard. It takes a lot of effort to do that. And then we bought this music studio. So we're both working full-time plus working at the music studio. And we got into this habit, and this is about 2015 to 2020. So the last 5 years before I stopped drinking permanently. And we got in this habit of going to the studio to work and then going to this bar that was open late. Like we live in the suburbs where the sidewalks roll up, at 6:30. So there was this bar that was open late. So we'd get some like bar food, and I would get 2 ginormous glasses of wine because it was like 2 for 1 after 9. And then I would come home. And so the wine started, forget the moderation at that point, that just all went out the window. And then my wine habits started up again. So that's sort of, in a nutshell, my story as it relates more to my marriage, and I thought that was important to kind of, with your podcast being the alcohol-free marriage, kind of focus on that.
So when did you find This Naked Mind and decide, or what brought you to Enough's Enough?
2019, I actually did Sober Sis in May 2019. And that is where I was introduced to This Naked Mind, the book. I read the book. At that time, still, I wanted to get back to normal. That was always my goal. Like, I need to get back to normal. That was super important to me. It was super important to me. I don't know why. Thank God I got over that. But so I did the 21, I actually did like 40 days, and then we went on vacation. And so vacationing, which is, I know, part of my coaching program, is a really important part of my story, because it seemed like every time I got some good amount of time of alcohol-free under my belt, we would go on vacation. And I would say I moderated fairly well on that vacation. Looking back, I can see though how I was still in fixation mode, because it was like I was only allowing myself to drink if we went out. We didn't have anything in the condo.
A lot of rules.
I stuck to them. But remember that night I got really ticked off? We went out to this restaurant. It was like, we're running late. I wanted my wine. It was like, I could only have wine if we went out. We were going out.
I had my jammies on.
Yeah, no, we weren't in the restaurant I wanted to go to. Then we go to a restaurant that doesn't have decent wine. And then it's like the waitress is taking forever. Like, I see this now in retrospect. He thinks I was just being crabby. The kids are like,
Mom needs a drink.
My son's pushing the drink menu over to me. But because I was in fixation mode, and I was like, I want my wine. I want it now. I want something good. And it's just, that's how you get, right? Even
obsessed.
Yeah. So that was 2019. And then after that vacation, we came back. I still was pretty much on a weekly basis during the week, not drinking. And even on the weekend, sometimes I was really experimenting back and forth with an alcohol-free lifestyle. But when I would drink, I would overdo it. Not every time, but then I would, and then I would like put myself back on 30 days. Like it was a punishment, it was like time out. So 2019, running up to me going into This Naked Mind program, I had like all of July alcohol-free, all of August alcohol-free. I drank maybe 5 times in September, 2 or 3 times in October, all of November until right after Thanksgiving, when I overdid it, and then put myself back on timeout again in December, all the way to New Year's Eve. So most of 2019, I was really working on an alcohol-free lifestyle, but still without the knowledge and the teaching that we get from This Naked Mind. And so then COVID hit. We closed the music studio. We were being sued by the former owners because they thought we weren't going to pay them during COVID. Like, this is April when everyone thinks we're going to die. And then we're being sued by people. Like, even our attorney was like, what kind of asshole sues people during COVID? You know, like, and he, and the whole time I was just like, I threw everything out the window. Talk about the pause. I was like, definitely pausing. And I'm just like, keep pouring while you tell me all this bad news. But that was only, about a month and a half, probably April and May, back to kind of the way I used to drink. And it kind of just felt like, this is just what I do. Like every night we just drink. I didn't even want to do it, but it was just default mode. And I woke up and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And I think because I knew how it was like to be alcohol free for many, many experiences. I just was like, I got to give this a go. Like, I got to not do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And it came more from a place of not time out, like from compassion, even a tiny morsel, because I didn't have a lot of self-compassion, but it was more like, wait, this is my one life. I'm worth it. I finally was just like, I want to, I want this for myself. And I joined the path. And at that time, the path was a year long. So I joined the year long. It was the first iteration. So they kind of didn't say it was a year long. They said you could leave whenever you want. But I stayed in over a year.
I remember that call. I went to the path. Wasn't it a call where she did like the whole teaching and that webinar? I remember doing that. And then I was like, I'm not paying that money.
I know.
I mean, I was like, I'm not going to do it. And then I did the 100 days of lasting change because I had my last was like, okay, March 24th, right as we were going into COVID. I was like, I can't, but what you're saying, I battled for like 7 years of this. Okay, I'm going to watch and I'm not going to do this. And then Russian roulette whenever I would drink. And then I would go off the deep end. And then again, punish, you're bad. Sitting in the pew on Sunday morning, hungover or in choir. And that was always fun, trying to sing and being hungover. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I completely relate to everything. And I wanted to ask you, Susan, do you feel like your age affected when you decided, like, I only have one life? And here I am. I don't know. I mean, for me, it was like, I am now over 50 and you're still doing this.
I think the immortality of youth wears off at some point. And I had the exact same thing of, I had a bit of a, not health scare me, but the doctor's sort of like, it's taking a toll. And I think, did you sort of feel that way? It's sort of like, you know what? I'm not immortal, Yeah,
I think not in that moment of making that decision, but later when I realized how amazing alcohol-free life was and learned everything that we learned in This Naked Mind, I was like, yeah, this is not the time to ever go back to that. And I feel like it took like 5 years off my face, but yeah, I guess maybe spiritually, maybe it was God is like, hey, we got something for you to do here. And, finally got through somehow. I mean, it happens the way it happens for whatever. My story is my story.
I just didn't know if there was anything in there like that. Cause I just, that repeat just drove me crazy.
Yes. And just feeling like such a failure. And, it's really interesting. There's this, how there's sometimes wacky people at church, the wacky people that like, just, we love them, but they're a little wacky. But this woman, she came up to me and she said, because this is when I was doing a little bit of Celebrate Recovery at the same time that I was doing AA. And she comes up to me and she goes, the Lord told me that you are going to overcome this and you are going to help other people. And I was just like, oh, okay. Thanks,
thanks.
But like,
what time is the wine circle on Sunday?
Yeah, exactly. It was encouraging. But then later, after I quit AA, then I'm thinking, oh, well, great. Now I'm not even fulfilling God's purpose.
Now I'm really terrible.
And I didn't even
more guilt. That's all. That is the best thing that we've got going for us. We can throw the guilt on.
Yeah, the shame.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I here's what I thought too. When I first read Annie's book, I liked it, but I thought it was like, well, God, Jesus made wine, come on, it's not that bad. I was still in that mode of like, but then when I decided I wanted to quit, I'm like, okay, I know where to go. I'm going to that lady because she's serious. This is where I need to go if I'm serious about quitting drinking. And so, I cried through the whole webinar and I was like, okay, I'll pay the money. And then literally, you know how there's a run-up time between when you pay and when it starts? I almost quit during that run-up time. I was called and like canceled because I was just in such a, and then I realize it's my subconscious wanting to keep me safe, not wanting change. I was in it's a miracle. I actually even emailed Jen from Sober Sis and said, can you get me into your next group? And she goes, oh no, you missed the cutoff. You can't join until something. And I was like, I think in some ways, it would have been great, I'm sure, to do her next program. But in some ways, if she had I would have quit this Naked Vine. And I think I'd gone to that program because I was familiar with it.
Sure.
And the fact that she actually rejected or just said, no, it's, she has her rules and I already started, can't start late. That I ended up with this Naked Vine, and that was where I was supposed to be because the science, really, I love the science. The science really turned me on and really fueled my journey because I could always think, what neural pathway do I want to feed here? And like it gave me something tangible, to really hang on to when I was pretty determined though, like to get through the 100 days and then go from there and once I got to the end of the 100 days, I went, okay, if I do 200, that'll be December. So I did that. And then after that, I was like, yeah, just going.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm good. This is what I want. I don't need to go back. I never want to go back there because so many changes had happened.
And then how did you, what made you decide you wanted to be a coach?
Well, that is another kind of spiritual thing. I got the email and I thought, oh, surely they didn't mean to send that to me. Like, and so that's how my brain worked. And I had started a meditation practice, which is part of my devotional. I do like the divine hours. And then I learned how to meditate, which is more of a Buddhist type meditation, but it doesn't bother me because I feel like I have the Holy Spirit in me. And so it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like I'm bringing me and the Holy Spirit to whatever practice I'm doing.
I agree. Because I get it. I'm with you. Because when I meditate too, I'm always like, yep, Jesus is in here. So he's not coming out. I'm not doing the emptying emptying my head or whatever, the space or whatever. So so I'm bringing it in.
Yeah. I'm connecting with my divine. That is divine the way I interpret it. So I had this, but I took a class on meditation. So I was following this teacher who was teaching us, and she's talked about following charm, which I guess would say this would be the same as hearing the Holy Spirit and following. It's just those little nudges you get. And so I got this when I actually that day we got an email from this meditation teacher about following charm. And I was like, wonder why I got that email. And I had also put on a vision board that I really enjoyed coaching because I had taken a coaching course, but I was thinking of it in terms of like at my job, I manage employees, et cetera. And then I just put those three together and went, and I'd also had when I was meditating, I just had some thoughts and kind of dreams about doing a podcast with my daughter, which was a separate thing, but it just came together and I went, I think I'm supposed to do this. Oh my gosh, I think I'm supposed to do this coaching program. So I applied and we talked about it and I met with Scott and then the rest is history.
So awesome.
Yeah.
And Lance, how are you feeling as she was going through this process of change and when she joined the path and everything?
Well, I was really happy about it because I knew she was unhappy. You can see she's a rules-oriented person. She's a science person with spiritual side and all that. And, she I could just see little by little change that's going on. And a lot of it also had to do with the naked people. The naked
Okay, so the whole time.
Any naked group sounds good to me.
It's like,
how much is
how do I get on the naked path? I'm like,
you're not, I wasn't invited. But little by little, I could see the change in her thought process and all of these tools, she's definitely, and we all need tools to draw from, and just more and more that expanding quicker and quicker to being a happier person, to being more dialed down, a mellower person, nicer to me without alcohol. So and then the other part of this is that, I'm a visionary entrepreneurial guy. I'm a completely not as organized person, this and that, and a risk taker. She's risk averse, she's rules oriented, she's all these things. And so when, in life, if we had therapists or whatever, they'd say, like, what are your dreams? What are your this? I'd give you like a million, and she'd go, I really know.
I have no dreams.
Well, I have no dreams, and I have nothing I like to do.
I'm just drowning my dreams in Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, Sauvignon Blanc. So that was a real breaking of starting to have dreams and starting to see a future beyond just like, I got to get through this day, my job and my this and that. So that's kind of.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
I mean, even when the price was a lot more than we thought it was going to be.
Understand?
Yeah, it was like, but Scott's really
anything worth anything. You have to have skin in the game.
Yeah, yep.
You do.
You have to have skin in the game. Otherwise, it's like, if the gym's free, I'll go to the gym. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I get it. Because the whole thing, like averse from risk, that was me. I did the first interview, then was getting on there with Scott. And I told him, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then, I don't know, an hour before, I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the interview. It's going to be fine. I'll just graciously say thank you for the opportunity. And we were on that call, and I looked at Scott, and he's like, what's holding you back? You're in. And I looked at him, and I go, nothing's holding me back. And I like ran upstairs, and I told Matt, I go, I don't know how we're paying for this, but we're paying for it. And he's like, oh, okay. I thought you were. Okay,
I'll get a second job.
We're doing this.
I'm not sure how many jobs I get, but we're on it, I guess.
Yeah.
But we made it work. So
now, Lance, correct me if I'm wrong. You still drink, correct?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I do, but not. I like. I'll go out with my friends and have beers. And even when I do, I have to come home. Not that I keep it from her. She knows I'm meeting Daryl at the golf course. We're going to golf and have beer. But I have to tiptoe around because she doesn't find me funny if I've had beers anymore.
How that works out, isn't it? That's kind
of So, and the whole habit thing has gotten out of our life. Like, we don't have wine in the house. I mean, I may have a beer in the fridge or whatever, but we don't have that nightly, weekly, weekend. There's, I mean, we would have, I'd come home with a bottle of wine, and that would be gone in about, 10 minutes. And then be like, well, wonder what time the wine store closes, and so that was just a habit of our relationship. Both of us were dealing.
It was really more of a problem for me. Like,
I
mean, we both did it, but he could leave. Like, I would come out in the morning and there'd be a half a glass of wine on his side of the couch, but there would never be a half of a glass of wine on my side of the couch. No.
Right.
So.
Or if I poured it, she'd go, you poured a little more in your glass than mine. I'd be, oh, I didn't notice.
That's my wine. Yeah,
that's my wine.
That's so bad. Like, the white wine was mine. If he wanted to have some, I was like, hey, that's mine,
And then I'd get red because I like red,
Yeah, but then I would drink that too. So.
Oh, yeah.
That's bad. Yeah.
It sounds familiar, because I would have to say that I think I was, Matt definitely triggered me. Like I was going to drink. If he was going to drink, I was going to drink too. And then, so it was just, and if I did notice sometimes where I would be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to drink. And he'd be like, okay, let's go, So it did definitely feed off of each other.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, and one thing I really wanted to share is with this in the forum of like the alcohol-free marriages. Like now he does have wine. Like if my brother-in-law and sister come over, he'll have wine with dinner. And I usually have, it doesn't bother me. Like I've lost all desire. So we were in really fine shape. We could go out to dinner and he'd have wine and I would have something else. It's really not a problem. But there was a point though, in the beginning where it was, when you're first trying not to. And he was so good about like, not having it in the house and being really, really helpful. But the thing I really wanted to share, and I shared it a little bit on Annie's podcast, was how the mindset work that I used to lose the desire for drinking really helped our marriage.
Right.
Because I had a lot of negative thought patterns about our relationship and about him specifically. I mean, I blamed him for everything. I'm like, oh, it's raining, it's your fault. It's like, I was really bad. And because I started questioning and learning, hey, you don't have to believe everything you think, and that we do have these repetitive thoughts, I was able to then apply that to my thoughts about Lance. Because there was a point where we came home from a vacation type thing, but it wasn't a vacation. His father died and we went out for the memorial service in San Diego, and it was during COVID still. So it was still dicey about, traveling and stuff, and everyone was drinking, etc. He actually brought a bottle of wine for me. And I was like, what the hell? What are you doing? And I remember it sat there in the fridge in our hotel room. And every time I would walk by and give it like the evil eye, like, I'm not drinking you. And I was like, really, but I was really kind of angry about it. And there'd been, he drank, it was his father, he drank, everyone drank. And I was really upset afterwards. And I came home and I remember on one of my first coaching calls with Scott, I was like, I'm not giving up my alcohol-free life. And I don't know if my marriage is going to survive this. And I know that, and I'm only bringing this up because I know that's an issue with other couples.
It is.
One person changes, it upsets the apple cart of your relationship. But I asked, so at that point, that was the end of September, he had drank a lot during the time his dad was in hospice, and over the weekend he stayed out in California between hospice and the memorial service. And I asked him, I said, will you do the October live alcohol experiment just so you can know what I'm doing and understand the approach that I'm taking towards alcohol and learn all the science? And he did. So he did that. And I thought, I am going to use this mindset work to see if I was really holding it loosely too. That was one of the things we talked about. I wasn't having an expectation it was going to work or not work, but I was going to go all in, just like I did for alcohol. I literally had stickies up on the mirror in my bathroom. I love Lance. Like I was reminding myself,
Reminder.
or just, can I get that love back? Because at the time I didn't feel that way, and it worked. Slowly,
Yeah.
I started to, and I prayed too, but I started to just realize how many of my thoughts weren't true, and
Yes.
funny story about the can opener, like, hey, where's the can opener? And my immediate normal thought would be, he doesn't know where the can opener is because he never does anything around here. And then that is not true, because late in especially in the last few years, he unloads the dishwasher. Like we really shared a lot more of the home chores. Now that
He just doesn't do a lot of can opening. It's not his fault he doesn't open a lot of cans.
Yeah, right. So I thought, also could, and there's also, is there another thought that could be true or truer, whether it's true or not? Like maybe my son put it away in a weird place when he unloaded the dishwasher, which would have been a miracle if he had unloaded the dishwasher, not anything, but so I started applying that to so many things, and I started to genuinely have feelings of love and caring for him, and he deserved it. You know what I mean? Like yeah.
Well, a lot of those years, I mean, she's a very animated person, right? So very animated, very direct. You don't have to wonder what she's actually, anything she thinks, it just comes out. And so in a lot of those years, it would be just like beaten down, like what, I would go like, what's wrong with me? I mean, I'm a nice guy.
Well, that would just make me madder.
And that would just make her madder and all these kinds of things. So like I was struggling with my own issues of like, so it was just very complex,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how we stayed married as long as we did. It was
No.
a very not great relationship some of the time. Most of the time, we were super involved in church, and we just were stubborn, and we were just stuck it out. And I'm glad we did, because in the end, I think I always had this thought in the back of my mind, I married the wrong person, because it was so hard being a stepmom. I didn't, of course, know that at 24 or 23 when I got engaged. And there were aspects of that were really hard. And of course, I blamed him for that,
And then, of course, I feel guilty for that,
Yeah.
So
it's all fueled. And then everything is fueled. It's all fueled by the alcohol too, because then you have the anxiety. And I made up so many stories about different things in my head. And then I would talk to Matt about them, and he would also be fueling those stories too, back and forth. So I completely get it. And I think this is just so amazing that you guys went through this together. I mean, you did. You were very committed to each other, clearly.
What I'm hearing is Lance and I are very patient men. That's what I'm hearing.
Right.
Yeah,
And you probably should get a gold star or something.
and I think that Amy and I are pretty cute chicks.
Yeah,
so
well, and that's why we were committed.
Yeah.
But
Right. Oh God.
it's all I could say to anyone that like, for us at least, it's like the real us have come out.
Yeah.
The real us, like instead of being poking a stick, it's more like there's compassion. There's, well, yeah, you're a bumbling whatever person,
We still joke around.
and we joke around, but it doesn't get serious. Like with drinking, let's say we've had a couple glasses of wine, and then all of a sudden we're joking and laughing and this and that, and then all of a sudden serious stuff comes out.
Oh yeah.
That's not even meant, you didn't mean it to sound that much, but it turns into a big thing. Then you're mad the next day, and then
Oh, but I would wake up and go, he would be mad at me, and I would say, I don't even know what I said. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I don't.
And I'd say, well, I do.
Anything.
And I'm going to let you know what you said.
Yeah.
And then it started over.
The whole
Yeah.
next day.
Yeah.
Well,
And
let's
you're-
go get some wine and it will smooth
Yeah.
it out.
But you know what is so stupid is we never realized
Bloody
that it was
crazy.
the wine, it was the alcohol that was really fueling that.
Right.
We really didn't get that. And
No.
part of my coaching business, I feel like I want to be a coach, but I also feel like I want to be an advocate. And that's really where I want to go. I'd like to get some speaking. I did a little thing at Yale recently, but it's really about just knowing. I feel like none of us got that education. I don't know where in DARE they end up not telling, they tell you all about cigarettes, but they don't tell you about alcohol and how, it affects your body, affects your brain, affects relationships. It's,
everything.
yeah, everything. And so I just want to, I'm not saying don't ever drink. I'm just saying drink, know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Just go in eyes wide open. That's what I've told our son and my nieces and nephews. It's like, you have to go in eyes wide open, because this is a drug. Yes. And you can use it, but just be, I hate to use, drink responsibly, because I hate that saying, but you have to take responsibility for what you're putting in your body is ultimately what you have to do. Yeah. And before we wrap this up, I did want to talk about, Susan. I went through your boot camp. I remember, and it's been a while, but I wanted to see if you could just briefly kind of just talk about that real quick, and then we'll have to close this out. But we could talk further.
That was probably so the alcohol-free boot camp was my first coaching project, because I in my own story, I just would go back to drinking when I would go on vacation, and I just know. So the thought that I had was, and this is exactly me, you're 30, 60, 90 days alcohol-free, and you're going on vacation. It's like, what are you going to do? And so many women, we just think, how can I go on vacation and not drink? I mean, my first vacation not drinking, I was just like, wait, what? Like, we got there and I'm like, I'm not going to drink.
Am I really going to put this on myself?
Yeah, I was just like, what? Wait a minute. Like, I was just like, it was like, wait a minute, and it's such a hard thing, because ingrained in us is that you drink on vacation, and so I came up with this boot camp, 2 weeks of different things that worked for me to get my mindset in the right place and to really put tips and tricks of how can you go on vacation alcohol free or go through a holiday alcohol free. And so I put so much in there because it was just like, I wanted to put everything I knew in there. And so since then I need to migrate it over to my new website platform. And I would like to do that because I still think it's really valuable. At the time I was getting advice also that, one-on-one coaching is really where you should start. And so I had this, it's like I made this product, which is more what I would give people after I help them get alcohol free. But I did that first. But it's very valuable. I use a lot of the tactics that are in that program with my one-on-one coaching as well. But
absolutely. And it's a great program.
Thank you.
It really is. I remember going through it. And that was a big thing for Matt and I is vacations. Like, how are we? I don't know how to do vacation without alcohol. Are
you even allowed on a boat without a beer in your hand?
That's what we, and I would, the first vacation I went in, all the mindset, all that work going in and saying, okay, we're going to go in curious. And I hate that word. It took me a long time to get to where I love the word curious. But at the beginning, I'm like,
I'm curious where the bar is.
I'm curious. How late's the bar open? That's right.
But I did stuff. I mean, we went down a giant zip line. I would have never done that prior. I want people to know that you can go on great trips or even just a weekend trip and you can have so much fun. And you had an amazing trip I saw where you went and did that ice bath thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do that.
Is she the reason you're doing that ice bath thing now? Oh, geez. All right, you guys can't talk anymore.
I'm getting this barrel and we're going to fill it with ice. I'm getting in this thing.
You have to do it with the breathing and the whole thing, but I
have to say, I've been talking about cold showers and all this for a year and a half. And she's like, oh, it's just you and your internet nutcases. And then she sends me a video of her going into an ice bath.
Yeah.
Oh, it couldn't be my idea.
Oh, you guys, this is so much fun. You know what? We're going to have to do a trip. I guess we're going to go to Connecticut.
Yeah.
I think we can, or maybe we can all meet halfway somewhere.
No, because halfway like, Iowa or Ohio. Something.
Yeah. Where do you live?
They're in
Illinois.
We're in Illinois.
Illinois. Oh, yeah.
We have to just go somewhere good.
Well, it sounds like we're on vacation all the time, but we're really not. But we're moving in this direction. Like I said, I can go to California, I can do work, and we can visit our family. We can go to, and we're having more and more of our relatives and stuff that have houses and stuff that we can go to as long as we get there. But we're in the mode of just doing the stuff. And one of the things that I wanted to say is when I was in California, I was with my cousins. They're big drinkers and this and that. And they Mike, John and Brigitte, I told you this, they said, we watched Susan's podcast and she had an amazing glow about her, and that is, like I see in you, and I've met some of her other friends we met up here. And there's just a glow going on with people of like, not, of just living life without being,
that's the beauty of alcohol-free living.
Yes.
That's what I don't want to give up,
me neither. I'm like, no way. I never have to drink again. That's like my thing. I go, I don't have to.
Right.
Yay.
No, it's so hard for people to get. They're like, really? You're never drinking again? I'm like, I don't want to. And they're like, that's weird. They just don't get it. So
yeah. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up. And this was so good.
Wait, you're missing the biggest thing. My favorite topic, alcohol-free drinks. What's your drink of the week?
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Get them out. Get them out.
Skip that.
So one of them I really like is this. It's by a German company, Lights. It's called 120.
Oh my goodness.
They have sparkling rosé and they also have a white. It is probably my favorite, alcohol-free wine. I tend to like a sparkling, and I love that it comes in cans. I usually just have one. I've thought about putting one in my purse when I go out to dinner and asking for a wine glass and just pouring it in there, but I haven't been brave enough to do that yet. But I really like this one. Now, early days, it smells like wine. Early days, I wouldn't have done this. I mean, this is for later.
Sure.
Like, this is fun. This you can get on Amazon. Of course, you can get it in 2 days. And I actually went to the winery in Napa that makes this, and they serve it there. So I could go to a winery with my family, and I had something I could drink.
Oh, that's cool.
the newest one I tried, which is the Katy Perry line called Dessoir. And I like the purple one the best, but I got a variety package just to try them.
Oh, cool.
This is it's not trying to be a knockoff of wine. This smells really like wine, but it tastes like sparkling water it tastes like a really watery spritzer. Like if that's,
I've had them. They're really good. I love them.
It's very refreshing, but this just tastes like nothing you've ever had before. It's just, but it tastes like an adult drink. It has some complex flavors and I really like it. It has ashwagandha in it, which is
yes, we've got to have that.
Something good for you. So those are the most recent ones. I've tried a lot of different things. I've had fun really trying different alcohol-free drinks. So
Oh, cool. Can you just send those to us too, so that we will do some links in the show notes. I think I got that right. We will do that, won't we?
Yes, we will.
Athletic Brewery.
Oh, yeah. Lance loves Athletic Brewing.
Great beer.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what he drinks most of the time. Yeah, we've done.
Oh, cool.
Oh, well, now we're going.
Well, now we are coming because now we can go to the brewery.
Beer tasting.
Yay! Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks so much, guys. And I really, really appreciate it. And I will go ahead and put the link to your website as well, Susan. And also along with your boot camp, the AF boot camp, because like I said, that was a lot of fun. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, thank you, Lance and Susan, for that awesome interview. You guys are such a fun and unique and quirky couple. We got to come see you guys up there and visit the Athletic Brewery, I think.
I know. Sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm always up for a road trip, you know?
Yeah, and we haven't been out.
Not that way.
In a long time.
Yeah,
and it's great meeting our new friends.
Yeah,
and they're just the dynamic and their commitment to each other. It's just very moving, and how
get you right there.
Well, it does, and that they wanted to make their marriage work, and Lance's willingness to be there for Susan. I think that's just.
And he still gets to go golfing, so say you don't have to give up everything.
Golfing. No, I mean it's about being supportive, and you were like that for me before you quit drinking. So.
I'm a big supporter. If you want to be a supporter of the podcast or feedback, like, subscribe, all those good things on the YouTubes and on the podcast feeders. If you want to feedback, email amy@joyontheotherside.com. We found that's much easier than the feedback email because I don't check that. So amy@joyontheotherside.com, or she can just help you with general coaching things too.
Yeah, and we're going to be working on a giveaway.
Ooh.
So very excited about that. And so just remember, if you need some help with your mindset as well, go out to Susan Larkin Coaching as well. I think it's Susan Larkin Coaching.
It'll be on the screen.
Yeah, .com. But anyways, she's great, This Naked Mind coach as well. And we're just a great family, This Naked Mind community. So
we are just a big naked community.
The naked brain. I think, isn't that what Lance said? Those naked people or whatever.
All right, kids. Well, that's it for us for this week. Wishing you peace and love from the cornfields. I'm Matt, along with Coach Amy, and we are out.